Welcome back. Well, we have some exciting midweek Serie A action on the docket today. Sassuolo take on Napoli at 12 p.m. Eastern, and Inter Milan face Atalanta at 2:45 right here on the Golazo Network. Inter Milan absolutely cruising to the Scudetto, but it's going to be a fun one against an Atalanta side who are in 5th place and hungry to make top 4. For more on these matches, we welcome in our good friend, Marco Messina. Hello, Marco. How are you today?
What's up? I'm good. Nice to see you. Nice to see you back, Susanna. I've missed you.
Thank you. Thank you. My voice is slowly coming back as well, which is a good thing. But lovely to catch up with you today. Let's chat some Serie A and Inter Milan. I don't know what else we can say about this team and how well they have done this year, but we were talking in our production meeting and looking back at last season and where they were at this point. You know, they finished in 3rd last year, but I think only on 72 points. They're already at 66 right now. They had 12 losses last season, just 1 this year. It's hard to pick, you know, the one thing that they have improved the most on. But if you had to say where you have seen the most growth from this Inter Milan side to put them in the position they are now, what would it be?
For me, it's pretty simple. It's Simone Inzaghi, the coach, who at this point, like you're showing the numbers here, 12 months ago, they were talking about Simone Inzaghi being sacked at Inter. They said, oh, this guy's not good enough. You know, he was at Lazio. He's not ready to handle the pressure. Even though his team played well, those 12 losses were down to lacking motivations in smaller games, right? Because they always turned up in the big moments, but it was the small games, the games against Salernitana, against Bologna, but when Bologna were not that great, that they weren't able to motivate themselves to play great football. This year, they're an absolute machine. They don't slip up. And he's gotten rid of a lot of the things that he's done, where he would sub a player out if they got a yellow card automatically. Right now, he's always playing his best 11, and he's totally focused. So for me, it would pinpoint on the coach.
Marco, talk to me about the title race so far. Now, I know Inter Milan is good, but are they really that good? Or is it that the fact of they haven't had really anyone challenging them to the level we expected? I'm talking about the likes of AC Milan and probably Napoli. Maybe even you put Juventus in there, or is it that they're that good?
I would say both. I think Inter are that good. The numbers absolutely reflect how great they are. But I think that Juventus and Milan are both better. The distance could be closer, let's say. Because if they win this match, they're 12 points above Juventus. I don't know if I think Juventus have slipped up in moments that they shouldn't have. Not to take away anything from Inter, because they have been remarkable. 63 goals scored, 12 conceded, a 51 goal difference. I mean, those numbers are incredible. We've rarely ever seen this. And they've won 3 games in a row, scoring 4+ goals. It's never happened since 1947. So we have to give credit and say that this is an all-time record-breaking Inter. But I do agree with you that the teams below them should be closer than they are.
Yeah, and if you want to go even further with comparing numbers, at this point in the season, in the year from a couple of years ago when they won the Scudetto, this Inter is better. They've beaten that points line. They're conceding less. They're scoring just a little bit less. But this Inter has been impressive. And on that note, Marco, which partnership do you think is better, Lu-La or Tu-La?
Lu-La. I think it's easy. Lautaro's having the best season of his life. He's never scored 22 goals in a year before. And Thuram, when he came in, we had so many doubts. We said Lukaku got the best out of Lautaro. You know, he really needs a number 9 that holds up the ball and allows him to get space. Thuram has been the complete opposite. Thuram is really good at opening space and getting midfielders in behind and creating opportunities for his other players. And Thuram has also come up in big games more than Lukaku has. And the fact that this is his first year within Serie A says so much about him. And he had a really poor preseason. It was actually pretty funny. All the Inter fans were like, he didn't score all preseason, I think it was. And like, oh my gosh, where are we going with this? And then boom, he hit the ground running and he hasn't stopped there. And I've listened to some of his interviews and he credits one thing, and it's also speaking to Thierry Henry. He said he speaks to him after almost every game, and he speaks to him more than his own father. So maybe he's given him some of those pinpoints that have made him remarkable this year.
Damn, maybe I need to speak to Thierry after every game.
I don't know. He can't do miracles, Alexis. Let's relax.
He also, I think, knows not to just answer my texts. But, Marco, I want to talk a little bit about Napoli. What a rough season after winning the Scudetto, seemingly midway through the season last year. Is there any way they catch up to maybe a Lazio or a Roma or a Fiorentina and get themselves into a European spot? And if not, this is a complete capitulation by them, no?
Yeah, I think we have to manage the expectations. I've given up on their hopes of getting top four or five, we could say, because if fifth place does mean Champions League for Italian teams, I don't see them qualifying for Champions League. I keep wanting to believe, like last week against Cagliari, they were about to win 1-0, and then Cagliari scores in the 90-something minute. And I want to believe they've brought in 3 new coaches this year, but they can't do it. The team was broken over the summer, and there's really no repairing it. The fact that they're in this place is sad. They've relied on individuals, like thank God for Osimhen, who saved them in the match against Barcelona. He also saved them in the game against Cagliari because they have not been playing well. I don't see them. And also because it's not just how Napoli are performing. When you look at the teams above them, like you just mentioned, you mentioned Roma, you mentioned Bologna, Atalanta, they're performing too well. I mean, they're not all going to drop points, and Napoli's got to go on this crazy run. It's too many things to happen.
Marco, I'm not one to put people on the hot seat, but yeah, you're going to have to pick one. Bologna, Atalanta, or Roma, who finishes 4th and why?
Okay, so we have this question for our show on Sunday. And now I know how our Serie A, my crew is. They're going to copy everything that I say now. So my top 4 is Inter, obviously, Juventus, Milan, Atalanta, and then Roma. I'm dropping Bologna out. I'm sorry.
Why? No.
And why?
Yeah.
Why Atalanta finished 4th?
Atalanta are remarkable. I feel bad that we talked about Inter Atalanta and I didn't speak about Atalanta at all yet. If you look at I was looking at their recent form. They're the 2nd best team in Italy in the last, you keep scrolling back, last 6 games, last 8 games, last 10 games, last 12 games. They're right there. They're like 2 points away. Their form is remarkable. They've been without Lookman for 2024 because he was at AFCON. Now he's finally coming back. They have goal scorers in so many different areas. I was looking at a stat that only Real Madrid and Man City have scored more goals from midfielders this season. They're not reliant on one player, and they're also pragmatic like Inter. They can win in different ways. Even last week against Milan, they didn't play great, yet they earned a point at the San Siro. That's a team that's going to finish in the top 4 for me.
Marco, one last question. Good thing that you brought up Lookman. How impressed have you been with him? And in your opinion, do you feel that he's got enough what it takes to move on to whether it's a Juventus, AC, into one of the big boys?
He did remarkable last year when he came in. He was, for me, the best signing after Kvaratskhelia last year. He did not hit crazy strides like we saw in his previous season, his first year in Serie A. But I think that he has that potential. He was a top goal scorer until Miners took over him this weekend. He's got 7 goals on the year, and he missed that month. So he's had a few up and downs, but I think it's also because Atalanta have been sharing the goal. So I don't want to just focus on the numbers. I think that he needs another year at Atalanta. And that's not to say that, the trajectory that Atalanta's on, that's not taking anything away. I think they're going to be playing Champions League football. I don't think he needs to make the move to Juventus or Milan. Why would you go to Juventus? Look at the way that they play, the style that they play. At Atalanta, they play an attacking brand of football. You're in a good position to succeed. Look at the way that CDK has performed so well than at a Milan. So if I was him, I wouldn't be looking elsewhere.